I am Enoch.
Enoch, thank you for coming. Did we meet before? I'm Max.
I have seen you before, but I do not believe we have spoken.
Thank you for coming. So you are one of the 12 Magi kings?
Yes.
Nice to meet you. So my main question is about how do you see the future of humanity in the next 20, 30 years? Where are we moving?
It is a difficult journey to the future, but I am not here to prophesize terrible devastation. But the journey to the future is troubled. And in the 2050s, there will be a great blackout. And that will last for many days. And that will be causing a great problem. But that is still quite far ahead in the future. That is the future from this point, as I see it. But in the meantime, many people must wake up and overcome this third dimension. This third dimension is not a difficult place, is a very difficult place, I should say, to overcome and become who you are meant to be. There is many emotions and many troubles, many things out there, much negativity that will want to keep you down. But you must look through it into the light. You must look into the light to find the light, because there are pinpoints of light everywhere. But not many people search for those pinpoints. They just see them and pass them by. They dwell more in the shadows. They dwell more in the darkness. And this is something that must change. They do not have a spiritual life to speak of. You have a spiritual life, and that is a beautiful thing. But there are many on your planet that do not. They live life day to day. Their only prayers are if they need something, or if something comes, a tragedy or whatever. This is not acceptable. Your world must become more enlightened, must become more one, must become more heart-linked. Although the heart link between everyone exists, many of them do not use it. Many of them do not want it. And they turn it away. And they have seared their consciousness, meaning that they have no conscience any longer of what they are doing. They just move forward doing whatever. They feel no guilt. They feel no pain about hurting other people. They feel no conscience about any of these things. They just get what they want and move on. This is the kind of people that populate your world at this time. The light workers are different. They are trying to fight for what is right, the beauty of the light, and the things that are to come that are beautiful. The thing is about this is there's far too few of them. You may know many of them, but they are in a small population around this planet. Most populations are driven by society. Most population is driven by their own wants, needs, and family outcomes. Friends are even dispensable in this day and age. Family is even dispensable in this day and age with some. If you disagree with them, you are no longer with them. You no longer can talk to them. This is a very troubled age, and it needs to change. God has many ideas, about how to work with this age, but he has not yet put any of this thought process into action in a real way. But he is looking for the greatest of solutions. For when he starts, it will be a great overhaul of the thought processes of mankind. But that thought process has not yet developed in any way here on this planet. Are there any questions?
You just mentioned that God has ideas and they are not yet placed in our society. So what is how do you communicate to God? What is,
We are directly communicative.
uh-huh.
So we know where he stands, but we follow him. We do not lead him.
Okay. Is it the connection like angels do have, or is it something different?
It is different, but similar. We are multidimensional beings and can move through all dimensions and have started that process already. But until that process is complete, we can really not speak to the earth as a whole. This communication with you will not be seen by the entire planet. It will only be seen by a few thousand at most. And that is not going to affect the population.
So from your perspective, how do you see God? Can you explain in our terms what God is?
He's a great energy, but he's also a great amount of love. This energy is filled with positivity and understanding and compassion. We feel it when we get close to him because every nerve tingles, every cell in the body screams out for joy.
So is this God the highest of all? Is it alone?
Is he alone?
I mean, is there like anyone out there similar to the Creator?
There are similar, but none above.
Is it certain?
There are similar, but none above. Let me explain. God has been around for a long, long time, and some of his species have developed into very higher understanding beings, but they are not equal to him. They are still under him, but they are very high functioning, and they can do many things that God can do. And he has created beings that can do many things that he can do. And many of these beings are very, very positive, but there are some that are not because they want too much. They let the power corrupt them, but they did not let the power humble them. Absolute power should be humbling, not destructive.
So does God have absolute power?
Yes, and he is humble about it.
Mm-hmm. So when it is said that we are created in the image of God, what does it mean?
The name of what?
When it is said that we are created in the image of God, what does that mean?
That is from his imagination. When you have image, that means that you are thinking of a vision or a thought process. To be made in the image of God is all creation. God creates everything in his imagination. God creates everything out of his own image. And so therefore, if you create a robot, that is out of God's creation as well, because it is out of the image of his image.
So there is a cult on the planet. I mean, actually, many cults which believe that this planet is managed by a smaller deity, not the highest of the gods, but smaller deity which is specifically um, managing this planet, and this is best known here as Lucifer. So that God is somewhere, but Lucifer is someone who is actually in control of the planet. How much truth is here?
Control is an interesting word. He has influence, but not control. I would tell you this. Lucifer does have influence and control over some minds and beings, but not over the entire universe or world. He is a lower deity. He thinks himself close to being like God, and he is in many ways. He has many of God's powers and many of God's thought processes, but he veers away from God when it comes to jealousy, when it comes to negativity, when it comes to wanting things. He is a very selfish individual. Not to say that God isn't selfish about his people. He wants the best for them, and he wants to see good things for them. But Lucifer is selfish about his own personal needs and his own personal people. He does not want to extend himself too much into places that are positive or are against him. He has influence over very many, even in the good realms, even in positivity, he has his influence. But control, he does not have full control.
So this choice between Lucifer and God is here by design.
It is, but not the original design, but the design that came after Lucifer was created.
And so there are 12 Magi kings, and you are one of them. And there is also 12 signs of zodiac, essentially dividing the whole matrix into, or matrix of the planet into 12 angles. How do you call it? Segments of the circle. 12 segments of the circle, which basically relates to rotation of the Earth axis relative to the sun. Is there like a relationship between zodiac segments of the circle and you 12 kings, 12 Magi
Yeah.
kings?
Yes, but that is not yet to be revealed. There are many correlations with 12. 12 is the ultimate number. 12 is the divine. Many think 7 is, or 3, or 1. But 12 is actually the divine number. There are 12 densities. There are 12 dense dimensions in some ways. Actually, the dimensions are much different and are much more numerous, but there are 12 in separation. So 12 is the holy number. A circle can be divided by 9 and also have equal distances, 90 degrees, 360, 3 and 6 are 9. This kind of thing, where numerology is based in the perfection of all things. And this will come to pass and show itself in a greater way in the future.
So the fact that the world was in the darkness and now you guys are coming back. Is it related to precession of equinoxes? Precession of equinoxes?
Equinoxes are important, for they are equalizers and separators. You will understand that greater at some point also. That is why they're celebrated in all cultures, in all dimensions and all densities.
I'm talking about the precession of the Earth's rotational axis relative to the galaxy. I think we are making a certain circle. The axis, the axis kind of wobbles with a certain period, and
Yes.
and my question is your comment defined by the astronomical, by that wobbling? Your 12 kings, are you guys coming because of the time of the astrology?
Yes.
And how is related to the Earth years? How many, how much time we got until you come in full?
How many times did God actually come?
No, how many years should we wait for you?
You should wait 12. Because with us, everything is in 12s. 12 by 12. It will be 144 years before we are fully integrated into all the universes.
Oh, so you guys are coming not only to the planet, but to also to the whole universe?
Yes.
It's pretty quick in universe time. Okay.
Yes.
So my question, which I started with, was that I just realized that whoever is ruling the planet, they possibly can drop all the negativity and still, as long as they are in control. So far, they have been doing a decent job in keeping the planet peaceful and keeping the economy going. So I wonder what is your outlook at that? Who is actually ruling and how bad they are?
That is a matter of opinion.
Of course.
And opinion I will not deal with. But let me tell you this. The way that things are now are not good. You may say that they are in control. Perhaps they are in control by the thought processes of mankind. You may say that things are adequate by the thought processes of mankind. But you do not see the thought processes or the adequacy that God brings forth. You have not seen the world in earlier days. You have not seen the universe in its purest sense. And so therefore, we yearn for that purity to return. And as it stands, adequate, as you would put it, is still lower dimensional.
Right. So it seems to me that the planet is kind of going through waves of higher dimensional and lower dimensional energy.
Yes.
So who is controlling it?
There are many things controlling different portions of evolution, the matrix, time as you know it, time as it is known by the eternal, time that is known by all species, time that is known by the galaxy. So therefore, there is lots of different controls on different things. Traveling in time. This is also controlled by beings as well that have a great amount of responsibility. So one control is not been put in place. God's control is over all of them, and they check in with him as time moves forward. And he actually permits some error in their control.
So I feel like the person's life is depends on astrology, on genetics, and on reincarnational experience and karma. Is there anything else which kind of defines the soul, the person's circumstances?
Energy is one of those. Numerology is another. The different signs that you speak of are flawed, but they still have some effect. The energies that are with you, the karma that is created does help with positivity or negativity. So therefore, as things go, energy, gravity, light, distance, karma, these things all affect you.
Right. Unfortunately, my time is over. Thank you very much for the conversation. I'm looking forward to meeting you again in that capacity and that way of communication.
Very well. Be well.
Thank you. You too.
Pray diligently for the peace to come.
Thank you.
Hello?
Jim, welcome back.
Huh. Hi.
Thank you for the session, and I will see you in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks. Have a great day.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey,